It's time for Inside the Patch with your Las Vegas Raiders. Here's Gnarley Charley.
Welcome back to Inside the Patch. Yeah, it's Gnarley Charley. And we want to thank Fresno Rack and Shelving, nice rack. And, of course, ESPN 1430, your Valley sports leader. And today on Inside the Patch, we've got a surprise guest. First, we have the professor of basketball, Mitch, Perfect Rotation Adams. Look at that, showing that basketball off for basketball training. And how I met Mitch was he had a Legends show. And I said, well, Mr. Legend, why don't you show up with some Legends once in a while? And boom, Jerry Robinson is here. And if you don't know who Jerry Robinson is, he was on the Philadelphia Eagles for a little bit. And he saw them in the Raiders in the Super Bowl and said, you know what? I want to join them. And so he joined the Raiders right after that because he wanted to be just like them. And former UCLA Bruin, former Philadelphia Eagle first-round draft choice, and former Raider and buddy of Mitch. We got Jerry Robinson here. What's up, man?
Hey, man. First, thank you guys for having me on the show. I'm like, damn, did I do something to Mitch? Did I say something to Mitch? I can't even get on the show. I've been trying to get on this show for years, man. And now, you know what, man? I'm really excited to be here. I hadn't seen Mitch in a while, man, since, the Raiders were in Oakland. But I'm excited to be here. I don't even know what to say. So y'all just fire away if you want to fire away.
Hey, Jerry, I'm taking you off
Mitch, did you say Jerry was there this last week? You were in Vegas?
Yeah, I was in Vegas last week at the Monday night game, man. It was, can I say something?
You just say it.
Please.
All right. I've been to all the Raider games I've been to, especially in the last couple of years. It's like, beautiful Allegiant Stadium, is one of maybe the eighth wonder of the world. I mean, it has everything. It really does. It's a beautiful, outstanding stadium. But it's supposed to be our stadium. That's our house. That's our house. I went to the opener. I always go to the opener. I went to the Pittsburgh Steelers opener. And all that yellow and black, man, it looked like a bumblebee convention inside that place, man. They were everywhere, swinging towels. And, I just came back from the Monday night game with the Packers, and I've never seen so many cheese wedges heads, or whatever you want to call them. People wearing cheese wedges on their heads and all different colors. And it's just, I don't like that. It disturbs me. It hurts me because I know what it's like to have home field advantage, our crowd.
Yes.
And to me, and it makes a huge difference if you're a football player to hear your crowd. And even when you go on the road, it's still good to hear a few thousand of our fans screaming and yelling. So now these teams come to Vegas. They have a home field advantage because there's more of their people in there. And it's just, I'm hoping that one day, understand business is business and money is money. And season ticket holders are, they're making a lot of money off of their tickets. But I just hope one day that all the season ticket holders just get together and say, you listen, guys, there's one game or at least two games. We are not going to sell our tickets to the opposing team because it's a huge advantage when you have a home field advantage. And it doesn't feel like that, at Allegiant Stadium. But still, that, be that as it may, once a Raider, always Raider, I'm still in there, pulling for my team, man. But it's just really weird to look up and see, like, when the Niners played in the preseason game, man. There was so much red in there, man. It looked like a crime scene. I can tell you, man.
Mitch and I have been talking about this. We said, and there's really nothing we can do. There's nothing we can do, and we hate it, but it's a destination. The casinos have the money. They're going to do that. And I don't know. I don't know what the answer is. I don't know because it's business.
I'll tell you what. You know what? I know what would make a difference. Start winning, and it would make a difference. Winning has a way of solving a lot of things, and there's been some tough years, lately, and we're in a not a great situation right now. But all you got to do is win, just win, baby. Can you imagine what that place would be like if the Raiders had been winning the way they have in the past? It'd be crazy. I mean, I already know what it's like. When you go to the game, you're there and you got your Raider alumni shirt on. I can just imagine what it's like for these ball players that are there, even though, their records don't indicate, a lot of excitement, but still just being part of that Raider organization and being out in the community in Las Vegas, man, because the city loves the Raiders, man. I just, they'll turn it around. It just, all you got to do is win and you'll see a lot of things really change, for everybody.
Yeah, and I know the games that I've been to, Jerry. It's they threw a yellow flag, and I'm clapping, and they're marching it off from the Raiders. I'm like, what's happening? And it didn't dawn on me the first time. I said, well, I sat down and it happened again, and I looked around, and it was more, as you just said, more visiting fans than Raider fans. And we all know, having gone to games in Oakland, even games in LA, that when the Raider fans are behind the team, there's nothing better. I mean, that energy and I suppose it's like that for any home team that has a rabid fan base. But I know what I know, and I know what we got here at Oakland as far as the energy from the fans cheering, and there's nothing like it.
No, there's nothing like it. I'm telling you, really, when you're walking down that tunnel and all of a sudden you hear the autumn wind, and now you hear your crowd start to rev up, man. And by the time you step out so where they can see you and you start jogging on the field, it's like as you're jogging out on the field, you don't even feel your feet hit the ground. That's what I'm used to, And, now they may not be able to hear their feet hitting the ground because it's that other crowd. It's going to be noisy anyway, but you know what? But the Raider fans that are there, man, they're doing their best. They do support them, man. They do scream and holler. But once we get our fans get roared up, man, the rest of them say, okay, no, we ain't going to let them do that. We're going to take over their stadium. That's what it feels like. And it's like, you don't want nobody come in your house and take over your house. You don't want somebody come in your house and eat the last piece of filet mignon.
So Mitch and I were talking about last year we had this show, and on paper we looked great. And so last year, and we all know how that turned out. And then this year, I got to tell you, me and Mitch have been struggling to find something positive to say, and we were challenging each other. All right, come up with at least one positive thing about the coach, because we were angry. We've been angry, and we're just like, and we're trying to support the Raiders, and it doesn't change our love for the Raiders. It changes our love for, let's fix this team, and there's anger, and I don't want to get you in trouble with the Raiders. I'm just saying, tell us something positive that you see about the Raiders.
What I see about, I still have hope, man, because it's still early in the season. Because some teams start off slow, and some teams, but they end up with 5 or 6 wins in a row, and that's good to build on the following year. Thank God that the season is not over. I hear a lot of people talking about, yeah, what an ugly win that was. Well, you know what? I'd rather have an ugly win than a real great shootout game in an overtime and you lose. Give me the ugly win anytime. There's no such thing as a pretty loss. It doesn't work that way.
Yeah.
So, but for the Raiders, man, you know what? They're going to get it together. This is taking a little more time than as a fan, as we're all fans, as we want it to. Okay, we want to see things now. Well, obviously, needs to be some things that need to be worked on. There's a new group of people. And that's how I look at it. I'm always looking at the positive side side of it. And I'm telling you a story. What happened was when Mike Shanahan took over the Raiders. Okay, we're getting ready to play the Denver Broncos on a Thursday night game. This is what happened. The whole week of practice, he kept giving us clues. When you hear this sound, this is what John Elway's going to do. When they clap their hands this way, this is what they're going to do. They're giving us tips and this and that. So we're keyed into all these different tips and clues. We get there on a Thursday night, man. The first half, I think it was like 23-7 or something like that. And while we're out there playing defense, I mean, we're trying to remember all these little clues and these little things that he was telling us about, and they didn't do any of those things, man. We went in, I'll never forget it. We're walking in at halftime. I remember we were in there in halftime. I remember Matt Miller and Rod Martin told the coaches to get out. Coaches leave. Coaches left. And I believe it was Matt that took his fist and just hit the blackboard or the chalkboard or whatever you want to call it, and they exploded it. We had a come to Jesus meeting. It says, listen, forget about all the things that we were taught this past week. Let's go out here and play Raider football. We're embarrassing ourselves. We're embarrassing our fans, our girlfriends, our wives, and future children down the way. Let's go out there. If we're going to lose, we're going to lose it doing it the Raider way. We went out there. They never scored another point. We wound up winning the game. So sometimes you might have the come to Jesus meeting. Hey, someone in that life. That's what we did, man. It was a come to Jesus meeting. And it was just, I don't know. Go ahead, Mick.
So who on this current team could be the Matt Millen in the locker room to kick the coaches out and say, let's have a come to
Well, I
Jesus
think of
meeting?
Mad Max right off the bat, man. I think of
Yeah.
him
Okay.
and Devontae. Okay, it's like, hey, man, listen. Okay, we are representing the players that came before us. The reason that people wanted to become Raiders, we are embarrassing ourselves. Let's go out there. Let's be us. If that means more time in the weight room, if that means more time studying, if it means more communication, whatever it may be, let's do what we should be doing because this organization, man, back in the day, it was the winningest sports franchise in all sports history. I mean, for years. It took a long time to come
Yes.
out of that. But
Right.
Monday nights was ours anyway. Monday nights,
Oh,
any big
no
time
doubt.
game, it was ours, man. So I don't know. I just I have hope. But when I'm thinking about this team, I was thinking about that time in Denver. We went up to Denver, man, and we had our coaches. Y'all got to get out, get out, get out. They came out, man, and we went in there, and it really it because when you start to think about it, man, you know we're there because of the history of the Raiders, the history. Now I don't know if these guys understand the history of the Raider organization.
Well,
Because when I got traded, yeah, go ahead.
no, I was going to say, can you talk about when they had alumni weekend and there were a lot of
Yeah.
Raider alumni
Oh, man.
there mingling with the team? Don't you guys get a chance to share with them the Raider history? I mean, I saw a few clips. I saw Charles Woodson there. I saw Raymond Chester, and I know that you guys have to be telling them about the history of what it is to don the shield and wear the silver and black.
Well, a Raider alumni weekend, we didn't have that opportunity. Not that, but they do bring Raider alumni back to go to OTAs and all these other kind of stuff like that.
Okay.
But a Raider alumni weekend, man, August, every year, man, I circle August, man. I mean, I look forward to seeing those that have worn the silver and black before me and those that wore it with me and some of those that have worn it after me, just to be there to hear the stories. We talk about history, So I call them the younger Raider alumni, man. They really get a big kick out of it because the stories that are told from my group compared to the ones that came before me, you can't put it in a book, you can't put it in a movie. It stays where it is because and it just
Things are different.
yeah, it is different. But alumni weekend is really special to me. I mean, Mitch, it started off with maybe 50 to 75 guys the first time in Napa several years ago when when after Al passed away, and Mark, like 75 guys. Now it's like 300 guys show up for the alumni weekend. But the most beautiful thing about the alumni weekend is that you got 300 Raider alumni, man, that aren't afraid or ashamed to hug each other and say, I love you. That's the bond that we have. That's the bond that you need. And we always talk about, we would dare somebody to start some shit with 300 Raider alumni around.
That's right.
With Daryl, I don't know the pulse of the team there, man. I mean, we did a lot of things together back in the day as an organization, as a group, as different linebackers and offensive linemen and wide receivers. Guys would go out and they were just bonding. So I don't know what it's like now because I'm not there, but I hope that's what they're doing. If it's not what they're doing, they need to do it, man, because when you really care about somebody, man, you really care about your teammates and you love that person, man. It's amazing what you're willing to do to make sure that you are doing what you're supposed to be doing.
I mean, 13 years you were a linebacker in the NFL. How has the linebacker position changed now? I mean, from the schemes to
what? Besides the direct deposits and the 401ks?
that too? That too? The money, for one, okay.
Guaranteed money.
Yeah.
And they won't need a handicap placard like I have. Oh, my God. Football back in the day, I just remember I never came off the field. Guys didn't come off the field very much, and not just linebackers, but certain positions. Now there's more situations. There's more packages involved. The game has gone from, from run to pass because the passing is what's exciting to the fans. And I can understand that. But, now you have more nickel defenses and dime defenses. So you have different personnel in there. I don't know how it's changed. I just know there's a lot more passing involved in it. But no matter whether you're passing, you're playing pass defense or you're playing run defense, you have to be prepared for all situations, and you got to be alert on your adjustments. We call them adjustments. Peyton Manning called it Omaha. Okay.
Well, we were talking about that hit on Herbert where Max, the guy hit him out of bounds, and it's like as a backer, you're going after this guy and you got to let up, but then he might stay in. I mean, there's that. It's so touchy on what he do.
You hope you get it right. That's all. That's really what it is. No, you're taking a chance because the game has changed and they're protecting players more, especially quarterbacks. But if every quarterback would raise their hand, put the hand on the Bible, and swear that when I get to the sideline, I'm gonna run out of bounds. Okay, I'll let you go. But not everybody's doing that. Sometimes you're gonna look crazy if you ease up on that quarterback going out of bounds or anybody going out of bounds, especially, and they decide to take it up and get another extra yard. It's gonna look bad on you. So, you gotta understand it. You're wired up, man. Your adrenaline's flowing, and especially with a quarterback, if you catch the quarterback running out of that pocket, now they've taken the skirt and the dress and the tutus and all that other stuff. They're taking all the stuff off him, so now he's game now. So if you get a chance to hit him, you really want to hit him. But sometimes, you got to be careful what you do because they're going to protect the quarterbacks because they are the face of the NFL. And I understand that. But hey, I'm just happy to be on y'all's show.
No, that's good.
Now, Jerry,
yes.
You played 6 seasons with the Eagles, 7 with the Raiders.
Yeah.
And to me, you came into my vision as a Raider. As an Eagle back in the early 80s.
Yep.
Now, do you do the same thing that you do with the Raiders, with the Eagles? Do you ever go back and visit with your former teammates back with the Eagles?
The Las Vegas Raiders alumni department is the greatest alumni department in all of professional sports of any kind.
Wow.
I was with Coach Vermeil because he was my coach at UCLA and my coach at the Philadelphia Eagles, and we had a Bruins for Life function a couple of weeks ago, and he was talking to me about because he's heard me talk about our alumni weekends. He says the Eagles don't do anything close to that, and not many teams in the NFL have that alumni department that supports the team like the Raiders do. So the answer to that is no. The Eagles have something, but they don't do it to the scale that Mark Davis does it. MD does it. He's in Vegas, baby.
Yeah.
What I mean?
Right.
And it's just it's something that everybody looks forward to. The alumni look forward to. Some people can't do it because some guys are coaching and they got other things going on. But it is one of the greatest things I've ever been part of because we have the Raiders peer-to-peer outreach program, and I'm one of the 4 captains on that. They asked me to be one of the captains, and our responsibility is to every month, man, we have a contact list of players, man, that Mark wants them to know that once a Raider, you're always a Raider. And it's our responsibility to get in touch with these ball players and see if they're up on their benefits, if they need help with anything. Just make sure that they're aware of what they've earned. And if they're having problems figuring it out, we turn it over to the heads of our alumni department. So it's an awesome thing, man. It really is.
As a UCLA Bruin, you become a Raider, Los Angeles Raider. Your home field is now the Coliseum, which was USC's field. Was that weird at all?
No, you know what? I couldn't wait to get back. I at 6 years old was the first time in Santa Rosa, California, that I went over to the El Rancho Tropicana to see the Oakland Raiders. I grew up here, and I've always been a Raiders fan. They could have gone to the moon. They could have gone to the last. I don't care where they went. I just know that once I was able to become a Raider, man, nothing else mattered. I know. If you know, I'm gonna tell you a story. If you want to hear a story, you go.
Yeah.
Okay. The day I got traded, I flew in on a Monday, and Tuesday was a day off. So I go over to the facility, and I go to see the doctors to go through all the physicals and all this kind of stuff. So, of course, we're the LA Raiders, so our doctor's in Beverly Hills on Dale Drive, right? So anyway, I go through the physicals, and I come. They bring me back, and I'm sitting down in the complex. I'm sitting down on my stool, and no one's there. It's quiet as can be. And I'm sitting on my stool, and I started to look around that locker room, and I started seeing some of the names of the guys on this Raider football team. And I stood up, and I turned around, and I saw my helmet. I grabbed my helmet, and I put my helmet on. And I turned around, and I sat down, and I said, "Thank you, Jesus. I finally made it." And then the tears just start flowing down my face, man. That's what that means to me. I'm getting goosebumps now.
Oh,
so
wow.
That's my experience. I've always wanted to play for the Raiders, man. And I remember the first. Mitch, remember the 65 roses banquets that they had, okay? And the kids couldn't say cystic fibrosis, so they said 65 roses. So I remember going to the first banquet, and Coach Madden was interviewing people, and they said, "Jerry, Coach Madden he wants to interview you." So I went and sat down. I sat next to him. I'm like, I was speechless to start with. I said, "Oh my," and Mitch, for me to be speechless. Anyway, so I'm sitting there next to him. I'm like, "Oh my God, this is Coach Madden." And he told me something. He said, "You know what, Jerry?" said, "Even though we didn't draft you as a Raider, you'll always be a Raider." And man, I said, "You know what? Words can't describe the feeling that how he made me just feel so comfortable and how welcome." And so I have my blood's bleeding silver and black. So
yeah.
Anyway.
But for us, me and Mitch talk about this a lot. I think the fans take it personal when not, it's not about the winning and losing. It's about the attitude. I mean, if we're losing and we're trying and we're leaving it all out there, that's one thing. But if we're like don't understand, if feel like the coach isn't truthful, all those things, that's what it's frustrating to us as fans, I think.
Yeah, and you brought up something that's very important too. It's about your attitude. I mean, as you guys know, the attitudes from the Raiders past is totally different than the attitude right now. And you had to have an attitude, and it was a winning attitude. It was a positive attitude. And really, it was like you do whatever you have to do to make sure you were doing what you were supposed to do so you didn't let that teammate of yours down. It was just, it meant so much for all of us to be on the same page, and it's like, sometimes you'll see some busted coverage or some overthrown balls, or it should have gone somewhere else. I mean, being an armchair quarterback now, you can see this kind of stuff. And, sometimes you just got to put in more time. I don't know what it is. All I know is that you don't want to be the one that caused that big play. You know what I mean?
Right.
I mean, especially if it's from a mental error. Okay. Physical, you miss tackles and all that kind of stuff, but there's no excuse for making any mental errors because those are the ones that get you beat every time.
That's good stuff.
So that's what I'm thinking now, huh?
No, Jerry, here's my thing. Just I could sit and listen to you talk all day long. I feel like you're very humble, 13-year NFL pro, and I feel like you got your head on right. And I think you are a great person for other athletes to hear. And I think you're a role model, and I just think it's awesome. I really love
thank you.
Your perspective on all this. You should have your own show. Is what I'm saying.
well, actually, as a matter of fact, I had a podcast called People Doing Good, and what we did was, man, we highlight people that are doing good in the community, and it was just a lot of fun. We had a lot of different people on, Ronnie Lott and some other ball players, Guy Fieri. It was fun, man. But you know what? I'm from that school where I remember my mom telling me as a little kid, treat people the way you want them to treat you. Treat people and have respect for elders, and don't think that you're the greatest thing God ever created, because you're not. Okay. But you want to strive to be the best person that you could be. Okay. But don't ever believe that, or don't think you're too big and too good to come back to Santa Rosa, California to go share your experience with these high school and Pop Warner and these young kids. And that's just the way I was raised, and I just like, when I get up, man, in the morning, man, I'm serious about this, man. I have an attitude of gratitude because, there's so many people that don't have what I have that, I don't even complain about the pains that I have. I even thank God for making it possible for me to feel it, because there's somebody that can't feel this, paralyzed, that can't even feel that pain.
Right.
And it's an attitude for me. And I try every day to make somebody smile that didn't want to smile that day. So most of the time it's successful. Sometimes it's not. If it's not, that's okay. That's okay with me. I did my best. And by the way, Mitch, you got such I forgot how smooth your voice is, man.
He does.
It's like a 1-800 or 1-888 number.
He should be playing Barry White songs.
Exactly, man.
Mitch Adams' Love Line.
Yeah, there you go.
Hey, listen, Jerry. I love you, man. We've glossed over a few things here, and can we rewind it a little bit? Back to Santa Rosa when you were a sprint champion and a wide receiver coming out of high school. How do you make the transition from wide receiver to the best college linebacker in California?
You know what, Mitch? How does that happen? I had somebody let me put it this way. Okay, when I went to UCLA as a wide receiver and the tight end, and I caught 3 passes, and the linebacker coach who thought I was going to play defense when I came to UCLA, but Carl Peterson was the wide receiver coach. He said, no, I'm keeping him here. Coach Lynn Stiles, he'd always walk past me, especially on the plane on a way trip, and he'd whisper in my ear, how many passes did you catch today? No, I didn't catch nothing, right? So what happened was, as we beat USC to go to the Rose Bowl to play against the number 1 team in the nation, the Ohio State University, with Archie Griffin, 2-time Heisman Trophy winner, that 2-week preparation, I get a call to come up to the office to see Coach Vermeil. So I went up to see Coach Vermeil, and Coach Stiles was in there, and Coach Vermeil said, Jerry, he said, I'm not trying to hurt your feelings or nothing like that. He said, but as a wide receiver, you're like a dime a dozen. He said, but we feel that as linebacker, an inside linebacker, you can revolutionize this position because of your speed and the techniques and the fundamentals that you learned while I was in high school. He said, I think you could actually play a couple of plays in the Rose Bowl. I said, but just 2 weeks practice? He said, I really believe that. I said, okay, I'll make the switch. So I just made the switch. Here's the deal. I don't know nothing about playing linebacker, none at all. I had to learn it in 2 weeks, but I did get a couple of plays in on the Rose Bowl. The first one, oh man, Archie Griffin ran a sweep. Shoot, man, I came shuffling from the inside. I caught him before he turned the corner, right? So what happened was, I would assume that one of the coaches up in the press box said, number 84. That's a wide receiver. Tell you what, let's run big 245-pound Pete Johnson straight up the middle. Okay. so I tackle Archie on the first one. The second play, here comes Pete Johnson, man. All of a sudden, that's the first time I felt cleats running over my chest and my head. So I made that transition, man, and I had a coach named Jed Hughes, man, who taught me everything about playing the position of linebacker. And he asked me, he said, Jared, he said, do you want to be the signal caller because you're going to be the inside linebacker? I said, I guess so. Why not? He said, well, we got to go back in the 70s now. And he was like, he said, because, in this league, people they don't think that black athletes can play quarterback because they can't handle all of the positions and all the adjustments, this and that. And there's not many, you won't see many or even any inside linebackers, black inside linebackers, calling the defensive signals to make the adjustment. I said, really? I said, hell yeah, I want to do it. So he taught me everything about, I accepted the challenge, man.
Right.
And I had people tell me I was going to get killed, because come on, you guys. Sometimes I sit back and say, wait a minute, dude, you went from a 208, 212-pound linebacker to 218 pounds, but you're playing against offensive linemen that outweigh you by 140 pounds at least. How'd I get it done? I got it done because of my high school coach, Coach Ed Lloyd. He stressed fundamentals and technique. He said, Jerry, you have to have a solid foundation. If you're fundamentally and technique sound, it's going to make all the difference in the world, especially with the size differential difference that we had. So I made it, man. I didn't look back at it, man. And now that I'm older, now that I don't have the hips that God gave me. Okay. And my memory is kind of moved around a little bit right here. I'm like, man, I didn't know what I was doing, but I did it anyway. So, and that's how I did it. I did it because I wanted to play. That's what it was.
What's your most memorable hit? Like something you like, or the time you got hit too?
Oh man, you brought up the one I got hit.
Both. I want both. I want the one you hit.
The one I remember, it just stands out. When I was playing for the Philadelphia Eagles against the Dallas Cowboys, our first game against the Dallas Cowboys, Roger Staubach, Tony Dorsett, all them people, right? And we had a tip on when they were going to run the screen pattern, the screenplay. And so I saw it, I recognized it, I said, oh my God. So I just reacted. And as soon as Dorsett caught the ball, I just lit him up. I remember when I hit him, he said, damn, Jerry, how'd you get here so fast? That one sticks out. And the one when I got hit, was we were in the LA Coliseum, and we had traded we got Jay Strader, and we traded
Jim Lachey.
Jim Lachey, thanks. See, there goes that memory. That's how hard I got hit. So I picked off a pass. I'm starting down the middle of the field, and I got to the sideline. I'm running, and I'm thinking about da-da-da, da-da-da. I said, this is going to be on somebody's highlight reel. And then what happened was the running back, we'd been a horse collar. He grabbed me from the back, and just as he grabbed me and straightened me up, Jim Lachey, one of the most athletic 325-pound dudes, he had taken an angle after I intercepted the ball, and he came back, and he hit me right under my chin with the crown of his helmet, and that was it. Light was out, man.
Did you fumble?
It was a dirty hit. I think I did, but I think Lionel Washington recovered it. I'm laying on the ground. I'm out, man. I'm out cold, and I remember opening my eyes, and I put it this way, it's bad when all your trainers are out, the 10 doctors that we had on our team, and the head coach comes out. They knew something was really wrong with me, and I'm laying down there, and I open my eyes, and I said, Art, what the hell are all these da-da-da-das looking at me? He just started laughing. He said, I knew he was all right. I'm not going to use the words, but it was an M and an F. So anyway.
Well, here's the question. Because there was no blue tint back then. Did you go back in the game?
Hey, you know what, Mitch? I remember sitting in the locker room, and Dr. Rosenfeld and George Anderson next to me, and there was Huizinga might have been in there too, and they're stitching me up. And he said, George said, do you know this lady next to you? I said, oh, that's my wife. He said, okay. How you know it's your wife? I said, because I know those are brand new clothes that she bought for the game, right? And I was like, he said, oh yeah, Jerry's been all right. He said, Jerry, look, you're done. You're done. That's it. You ain't going back in. Okay. Game's over for me. I'm walking out of the locker room in the LA Coliseum to go back and watch the game. I'm walking out. As I get to the door, I hear George say, Jerry, what the hell are you doing? I said, what are you talking about? He said, look at yourself. I had put my street clothes on over my uniform. That's how bad I was, man. And Mitch, I'll never forget this, man. I was going to watch the rest of the game as I was standing on the sideline. I remember Marcus Allen leaning over, and he looked at me, and he said, you need to go to the hospital now. And it clicked in, man, and I went to the hospital. But see, the deal with that particular injury, I couldn't play for 3 weeks because I couldn't jog the width of the field.
Oh, man.
Jim Lachey didn't play for a couple of weeks, too, but it was bad. As a matter of fact, I tell you guys what, if you YouTube it, you'll see it.
Don't worry. Don't worry.
Here's the deal, Mitch. I have had people send that to me. I'm like, really? So now I'm watching this. I remember last year was the first time I saw it again, okay? That was the first time I actually remembered what happened because I saw what happened. I didn't, you know what I mean? I had to see it because at some point I couldn't remember exactly the whole details behind it. But that's how bad it was, man. It was the hardest I've ever been hit, man. He knocked me to a whole nother zip code, area code, everything.
Along those same lines, our good friend Phil Villapiano shared once. Everyone loves Phil. He shared once. He said, man, I got knocked out in the first half of a game, And he says, I finished it. And he said, going back and looking at the film, I remember nothing about the game. He said, I played the whole second half concussed.
And he hit OJ pretty good, too, and it was on that trial. Remember, it was on the trial every day that Phil's hit on OJ. He goes, 365 days for the whole year they played that thing.
You know what, man? I couldn't go back in. I mean, come on, man. Imagine me, man. If I'd been able to get out those doors in our locker room and standing on the sideline with my street clothes on, or my pads, with my helmet in my hand, and my shoes spatted up. Come on, man. That would have been on the Johnny Carson show.
Oh my goodness!
Hey,
I had showing that.
I had a Kevin Sweeney. He played for Fresno State.
Yeah,
he played for the Cowboys. He was on the show a couple weeks ago, and he told me NFL Films. They reached out to him and found some footage of Lawrence Taylor just clocking him, but Lawrence Taylor got hurt. And you can call NFL Films. I bet they have all this stuff around where it's shot really good that you probably can request and get some of that stuff.
Oh no, we can. We can do that, but that's one I don't want to get. That's I don't have to get this on YouTube, man. And, from time to time. But you know what? We didn't. That's the other thing. We didn't have that blue tint. Okay, here was concussion protocol. You got hit. How many fingers do you see? That's the first thing they said. There's only 5 fingers, so if you say 3, you got a pretty damn good chance of clearing this whole thing, right? Then they snap that ammonia under your nose. And it hit your nose and like that, and your brain starts getting fired up. But people don't realize, trying to get back from the sideline to your huddle, hey man, you would not be able to pass the sobriety test. I'm telling you, you're still wobbly.
Right.
You're still wobbly, and now they're on that real hard, man, and I'm glad they do, man, because it don't take a lot to have a concussion. As a matter of fact, when I got hit, after I went to the doctor in Beverly Hills, of course, and had the MRI done. So they had those trailers. There were trailers that they had, okay? Set to the side. And I was like, what is this? So I'm in there. I remember, and I'm claustrophobic, man. I'm sitting there. They gave me the mirrors so I can look out, and they strapped me in. And I'm here and there. They're talking about, don't move, don't breathe. You're going to hear this tick, 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 tick. This is the first time I've experienced this. So I'm sitting in there, and all of a sudden I start tripping. I said, what if there's an earthquake? And I remember talking about, I said, hey, man, look, man. I said, what? If there's an earthquake, man, don't forget about me. I can see all y'all running y'all's asses out of here and leaving my black ass locked up in this tube.
I'm in this giant thermos, and I'm liking this.
He said, we wouldn't do that to you, But anyway, so what happened was the chief of neurology at Cedars-Sinai, he called me to his office, and he sat me down, and we started talking about this concussion, and he said, Mr. Robinson, I had a couple questions for him. He said, look, you don't have to get hit as hard as you got hit. He said, there's a couple things that can happen. Okay, this is where your brain is right now. You can either be paralyzed or you can die. Ooh. And I'm like, whoa. So what happened is, let me tell you guys something. Art Shell was our head coach, okay? And I remember when I came back out to practice, Art called me over. He always calls me Mr. Robinson. He always does, man. And he said, so how you doing? And I said, Art, I can't even remember if the defensive coordinator would give me hand signals because we didn't have microphones in our helmet back then.
Right.
So I said, if I was given the hand signals, I wouldn't even know what to say. I said, I can't even jog Art the width of the field. Art said to me, he said, tell you what. He said, you have a beautiful wife and 2 beautiful daughters. He said, you come back when you are ready. You don't have to feel any pressure from anybody. See, that's what you get from somebody who played the game.
Yeah.
And he understood it. And that meant a lot to me, man. He said, you come back when you're ready. And matter of fact, to this day, I got hit on a Sunday. I think Halloween was 2 days afterward. That was 1980 something. I still don't remember taking my daughters around trick-or-treating in our neighborhood. I still don't remember to this day, man. But anyway, here I am now.
Well,
and,
Jerry,
I'm on y'all's great show, man. Hey, man, listen, hey, I'm not gonna be like everybody else, man. I don't need money because I know y'all pay people a lot of money to come on y'all's show, right?
Millions.
Okay, man. I don't need no walkie. I don't need no headset, man. And I don't want the Apple i15 because that damn thing shuts down. But anyway, so anyway. Y'all just keep my number, man. If you ever need me to come back, man, let me know.
Terry Robinson. Oh, yeah. All right, so we're going to end on this. What do you think about the Raiders this year? What are we going to do?
I think my hope is there that they're going to turn this thing around. That's just me, man. I think things are going to start to click. It's still early in the season. What's this game? Week 5 coming up? I don't know.
Yeah.
Okay, week 5.
Week 6 coming up.
Week 6. Okay. Things can change. People get injured. You get quarterbacks injured. I mean, some quarterbacks get injured in just 4 plays that are done for the rest of the season. Anything can happen to anybody, you know. So I still have hope. I really do. I just hope they get it together, man, because we have some of the loyalist fans on the planet Earth, man, and they just want to see you win, and not only just win, but like you said earlier, they want to see the effort. They want to see that you care about it. You know what I mean? And yeah. So I still feel good about it because it's still early. You know, I mean, so we've only had one divisional game so far. That was
2.
Chargers lost.
We beat Denver, and we beat Denver. So,
yeah, but remember this. You know how weird this is. It don't matter what your overall record is. It's just a matter of what your divisional record is. So, you know, we're 1-1, and anything can happen. So there's still hope. You know, there's still hope, y'all.
And you have New England coming in this week, and they're not doing so well.
I think we got quite a few people from New England in there already, right?
Yeah, exactly. It's a home game for England. Yeah, a lot of New England. Jerry Robinson. Jerry, thank you so much for being on the show. The legendary Jerry Robinson, of course, and the legendary Mitch Adams, who is our Legends expert. That's what we call him, Jerry. He's
that's the great part. That's how I met Jerry. And then it goes from me working with Jerry to being Jerry's friend. So it's just, I can't thank the Raiders enough. It just for a kid that grew up in Oakland, this is so special.
Hey, I tell you what, man, you're a special person, man. And, you know, and I can't wait to see in person your rotation. I can't wait to see your rotation.
Jerry, I look at his shiny head, and I think perfect rotation. Just looking at that head, too.
Well, let me put my sunglasses on first. Somewhere.
PerfectRotation.com. That is Mitch Adams. He's our legend. Jerry Robertson, our guest. I'm Gnarley Charley. Thank you so much for being on Inside the Patch. All right, we'll be back next week with more. Go Raiders!
Go Raiders!
Raiders!
We'll be back with more Inside the Patch on 1430 ESPN, your official home of the Las Vegas Raiders.